Welcome to Issues in the News on 9 News Nigeria. My name is Nsiba Odoite, your presenter. It promises to be another interesting time here in the studio. And with me in the studio today, we have two gentlemen. To my immediate right, I have Comrade IBUKUN IDENOBE Ayo, who is a social activist and a political critic. He is also the National Secretary of the Youth Elite Ambassadors and a card-carrying member of the Labour Party. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Further to my right, I have Mr. Samuel IHENSEKHIEN Jr., a known human rights lawyer, an activist recognized internationally in Nigeria and Africa. He is a member of the International Bar Association, NBA, and African Bar Association. He's also a principal partner of PATHLEGAL and co-legal practitioners and country legal advisor, One Love Foundation. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege.
It's another interesting time here in the studio, and the topic for today's discussion is the 2023 general election, the aftermath. Gentlemen, the elections have come and gone, and I'd like to take on you, Mr. Ayo. What went right and what do you think went wrong in the elections?
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here with you once again. The 2023 election was a milestone. It was first and foremost the most advertised elections. An election that promised to bring out the best after we've gone through so many trials. It's supposed to be a stabilizing election. An election that will make people know that Nigeria has moved, has advanced. With INEC, the promise of the use of beavers to transmit election results right from the polling unit to IROE voters was a promise that Nigerians hoped that, well, we thought we've got it right. For the first time, we've got it right, better than ever before. Better than the June 12, 1993 election, better than all other subsequent elections. The campaign was heated, as you know. The masses were mobilized, very, very well mobilized. The youth came out en masse. This is an election that none has ever mobilized the youth like the one that just took place. The youth were mobilized, older people were mobilized. People crave for a change because the change they were promised in 2015 was never a positive change. It was a negative change in all its ramifications. And so people looked out for an election that would change the narrative. The campaigns were organized, the youth mobilized, they make use of social media.
So in your opinion, did it go well or do you think it went wrong?
Well, the campaigns went very well, except for some...
The election proper.
The election proper, well, didn't go well as was promised.
In your opinion?
In my opinion.
Okay.
Because INEC did not deliver on its promises, but people mobilized to vote and they voted well. Then another thing that went wrong is, well, there was violence in some places and people were denied the right to vote or the choice of who to vote for. They were disenfranchised. They were attacked. Ballot boxes were snatched as in the old order, where they saw that opposition party was winning and there was going to be, the table was going to turn. They snatched ballot papers, burnt, set ballot papers on fire. We saw that, and these are areas where the Labour Party, that was the game changer in the whole thing, had their elections results destroyed and thrown into the bush and all manner of things. So it was not proper. It was not normal. It was not right
All right. Basically, some things went right and some things went wrong.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Samuel IHENSEKHIEN, please, sir, what's your take on this?
First and foremost, I want to express that, and I want to take a departure from the positions expressed by very few segments of the civil society, and also to, after the elections, more particularly the presidential elections were conducted, the body I belong to, the NBA, actually issued a press release in that sense. I want to say I depart from the opinions and resolutions delivered by the NBA. First and foremost, we were assured by the INEC, led by Yakubu Mahmood, that we're going to see a very transparent election. And more importantly, the 2022 was actually a very sacrosanct and a very innovative year, because it brought the entry into reality of what we call the new Electoral Act 2022. And in that Electoral Act, it has actually provided for the transmission of electronic results from the ward to the polling unit, from the polling unit to the IRF. And also to, in the Electoral Guidelines, sequel to the provisions of the Electoral Act, it also provides for the provision of beavers to be used for the election purposes too. This was categorically in several instances, in several recorded videos, in several forums, vindicated by the different statement of the INEC chairman, even when some few people expressed their reservations as to actually the usage of such high-level technology for the election. And there's no denial of that fact. Coming to the election itself, we had an issue. We had issues in some parts of Nigeria. We have voter suppression. We have voters intimidation. We have a little fraud of our electoral laws. And more importantly, there is a fundamental issue with the last election, more particularly with the presidential election. It's actually stopped short of meeting the yearnings, the minds, and the eyes of the ordinary Nigerians. In the sense is that the electoral guideline actually provides for the transmission. It's a law. And once the word shall or the law has stipulated a particular manner of doing things, if you derogate from that part, it becomes a total illegality. I do not subscribe to what INEC has done by not transmitting the results from the polling unit to the collation center, and probably to the IRF. I do not in any way subscribe that. That is a clear breach of the extant provisions of the Electoral Act and the Electoral Guideline. It's something that should be revisited. Thank God the election tribunal there. And I hope and I pray and I sincerely believe, because I am involved in the process. As it stands now, I believe justice will be secured at the Presidential Election Tribunal.
Okay, that brings me to my second question. Still on you, Mr. Samuel. The former NBA chairman in person of Dr. Olise Ogbakoba, SAN, in one of his opinions, he said that the petitions should be resolved before inauguration on the 29th of May. What's your take on this?
It's practically,
is it feasible?
Yes, it's not fixable. By the situation and the present circumstances of our laws today and our judicial system, no election, we have not even grown to the level of the Kenyan experience. No presidential election can be done before the inauguration. I will ask every Nigerian not to hit the polity. Be patient with the process. Judicial process, it takes a little time, but it brings a kind of a balance, and it amplifies and actually strengthens the country's legal jurisprudence. So it's not possible. It's not something. It's even. I'm involved in different election tribunal in the different places. As it stands today, I'm even supposed to be in one of the states in the north, but I am here in the studio. So because the Electoral Act actually provides for 180 days period, and 180 days period from the one that was done on the 18th of March, the one was done on the 25th of February. We are talking about from now till the ending of September. So there's ample time. It's actually a law.
So what happens to May 29th?
Yes, the president, the supposed president, with all due respect, who has actually been declared winner of the election, is my opinion, is my sacred opinion. He should be sworn in. Yes. That is my own opinion. I take I take a vibe and I take a distance from the rhetoric expressed by Mr. Dati Ahmed. It's we're in law. We're in a country governed by laws that stipulate how it should be done. The person who has been declared winner, whatever the yen is or whatever anybody feels, should be declared the winner, and everybody should rigorously and with all energy pursue their different cases in court. It doesn't stop the process. We have a judiciary system. I still have some level of confidence in our judiciary. I believe we'll get a balance. I believe every perceived and distraughted personality who's not happy with the fraught process of, I don't think the blame of this last election is centered on INEC, and I pray in the subsequent election there's a departure and a serious improvement from these elections they've conducted. So my take is the supposed winner of this last 2023 presidential election should be, with immediate effect on the May 29th, be sworn in.
While the process is on.
While the process in court goes on.
All right, Mr. Ayo, what's your take on this?
Well, he said the supposed winner. I think there is some kind of ambiguity there. The supposed winner.
The presidential elect.
The president-elect. Okay,
Yes,
I think
yes.
that's what you meant
That is the
to
word
say.
for it.
The selected, declared president-elect.
Selected
No,
by
we
who?
see,
Selected by
sir,
INEC.
With respect, we should be careful with our statements. Someone has been declared winner of the election. I think.
He's the president in waiting.
Yes.
In a system that is fraught with irregularities.
It doesn't stop the process.
Okay, I
For
know.
the fact that water comes through some contamination, it does not change that it's over. You drink it.
Yes.
And it
So
could be purified.
It could be purified. So
I
let's
agree
go.
with you. I agree with you. Now, what I'm saying is this. Abakoba, in his own wisdom as a son, said that within this time frame, because remember, we're in Nigeria, when you swear in someone as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, who is going to appoint judges, appoint this, and appoint that, he'll begin to use the instrumentality of power within him, within the ambient of his of that time, to begin to manipulate things. We've seen it before. In 2019, everyone agreed that it was Atiku Abubakar that won the election. But the Supreme Court just said, we dismiss the case. That is a very bad precedent. You are a lawyer, you know.
No,
So-
I don't agree with you. But
Okay.
continue. I
So,
don't want to disturb you.
so if you swear in a president now, and he assumes the responsibility as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, he could influence the outcome of the tribunal.
So are you of the opinion that the inauguration should be put on hold?
I support what the vice president said. Vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party.
What did he say?
What he said was that it would be illegal to swear in this president-elect because there was a breach of the Nigerian Constitution. And the Nigerian Constitution is supreme in everything in Nigeria.
Can I respond to that?
Okay, very quickly.
Yes. First and foremost, Mr. Dati Ahmed, he's not an authority for regulation of affairs or the conduct of elections in Nigeria. He's speaking as an aspirant who has actually gone into the field of politicking for presidential elections. So the courts are there, which is their core duty to interpret when there are fractions of the Electoral Act and when the issues are the theory grounds on which you can bring an election petition when it is put forward to them. So Dati Ahmed is his statement categorically, it doesn't carry weight. It's not attached to some basic legality in the sense. I'm not speaking holding brief for the APC or their candidate, but you see, what he's actually asking for is what we call the interim national government, and the Lagos High Court has categorized interim government to be unconstitutional and illegal. The thing there is that an election has been done, whether good or bad. The only remedy we have now is swaying the person who has won the elections, and the process can actually take a full. Just hold on, sir. Take the whole thing. Your fear is that being the president, the judiciary has never overturned any presidential election. Your fears are well taken care of. We have the Malawi experience. We have the Kenya experience. We have the Equatorial Guinea experience.
But he made mention of the Nigerian experience.
Peculiar to Nigeria.
The problem about, I've seen the petition filed, with all due respect to the legal team of Peter Obi. I'll be here again. I pray we can reconvene here by September. I can categorically tell you, in my short years of practice, the grounds upon which they filed that petition without prejudicing their case, in my own personal view, I don't think it is actually sustainable. In the petition that was filed by the Labour Party and their candidate, Atiku Abubakar, who came second in that election, was not included in that petition filed by Peter Obi and Labour Party as a respondent. And more importantly, I don't want to go into the mayor. I'm tempted to just give a little insight. I don't know if I'm permitted. But I don't want to go into the merits and express my legal views as to those petitions.
I will need to interrupt you at this point. Well, we have aired our views.
Yes.
Let me take on you again, Mr. Ayo. The president in waiting has called all aggrieved parties to come join hands with him and make Nigeria a great nation again. Don't you think this is a welcome call?
No.
Why?
Categorically no, because he is not supposed to be called the president in waiting if we follow the election results and the process that brought him to power is fraught. And so we are saying that Labour Party won the election, and I want to go back to what he said. There was no need to join issues with somebody who came second. You know?
Yeah, let's leave that, please. Let's leave that. Mr. Samuel, what's your take on this? The call for
by Tinubu, you know, it's with all due respect to him, it's like a man who has gone to kill a chicken and he's kill a chicken illegally and he's calling everybody to come and eat. And so it's my own position. It's my own personal position that it's too early for the call for national government or national unity. It's too early. Allow parties conclude their matters in the court. I will not subscribe to such things. If the court say yes, there was a free and fair election, the election was done in consonance with the Electoral Act, then there might be need for national healing and call, but not now. People are aggrieved. You know, Nigerians are one set of people that forget things easily. It
is because of this aggravation that has made him, he said he has had to beg where he needs to beg. He has had to extend a hand of friendship. You know, because Nigeria is the focus here. And
the problem is that the aggrieved parties are impliedly, one of the parties I'm representing in the court, they are also they filed a very tedious and a very strong petition against it. So will they also abandon their petition and go and jump into the idea of forming government of national unity? No, I don't think so. He should be patient. If at the end of the day, but you see, this is going to be a very peculiar election petition at the presidential level. We are going to see a landmark. I see something positive. I was not happy with the election conducted by INEC. I want to hear the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. People have their own feeling of how things are going to be, but I believe the court also too. More importantly, there's a fundamental issue that has to do with the issue of scoring 25% in the FCT.
Well, I think we will take that. Gentlemen, please let's hold it there. And viewers, let us go on a short break. We will be right back. Please stay tuned. Viewers, you're welcome. This is Issues and the News on 9 News Nigeria. In the studio, we have had Mr. Samuel IHENSEKHIEN Jr., a known human rights activist and a recognized internationally in Nigeria and Africa, a member of the International Bar Association, NBA, and African Bar Association. I've also had with me in the studio Comrade IBUKUN IDENOBE Ayo, a social activist, a political critic, He is also the National Secretary of the Youth Elite Ambassadors and a card-carrying member of the Labour Party. Together, we've been discussing the 2023 general election, the aftermath. Barrister, at the moment, two of the aspirants have gone to court. What are the legal implications this can have before the inauguration on the 29th of May?
Yeah, the cases have been filed by the presidential aspirant. It's not just two, they're almost four. The man from the Allied People's Movement also too. And the AA, they've also gone to court. The one for the AA, he's actually challenging that he was excluded from the election, sequel to the Federal High Court judgment he secured. So he has joined Mustafa, he has joined INEC, he has joined the vice presidential candidate of Mustafa, is setting, I can't remember his name now, and saying that sequel to the Federal High Court is secured, the High Court judgment is secured. But however, there's a fundamental problem before I start going to the main issues. With there are generally three tenable grounds for bringing an election petition now under the new law. The issue as to lawful nomination and illegal exclusion is no longer recognized in the new electoral act. It used to be the former electoral act. So that ground of exclusion, you have to check before the election. Is a pre-election matter that should not even come before the tribunal. So they should properly guide themselves. So the second issue, the Labour Party has actually filed a petition where they are saying that Ahmed Bola Tinubu was a convict in the United States of America as at 1994 by the U.S. District Court. You know, it is beautiful. Then the second ground is that by reason of Tinubu did not emerge by reason of the lawful and the majority vote cast during the election, and that also to the issue of double nomination. I don't know if I'm permitted to express my own personal legal views. On the first ground, it's the first issue I raised, Tinubu being a convicted criminal. It's actually a beautiful ground, but it's not sustainable under the new electoral act, in the sense that there's what we call, for foreign judgment to be recognized in Nigeria, there's what we call the Foreign Judgment Reciprocity Act. Once a judgment is secured abroad and you want it to have the effect of law in Nigeria, you must apply to the Chief Registrar and the High Court here, to the Federal High Court, for exclusive registration of such judgment. And as soon as that judgment is registered, it can be taken to be a judgment that emanates from a Nigerian court. However, if that judgment is subject to a penalty, a fine, or in similar ways like that, that judgment is unenforceable in Nigeria. It's over 13 years, this judgment, or more than 15 years, this judgment against Bola Tinubu was secured in the US. Whatever term they put it out, pronounce it out, this judgment was not registered in Nigeria. So it cannot take the effects of reciprocity. It cannot be enforceable in Nigeria within the meaning of the SOGA, the Foreign Judgment Reciprocity Act. That is on one hand. On the issue as to lawful vote cast, me and you are very both aware, and I want us to take press notice of the same, that the second, the presumed second place person in that election was Atiku Abubakar. So even if the other ground he's relying on to sustain the petition, what happens to the vote cast in favor of Atiku Abubakar? Will a miracle happen overnight that Atiku Abubakar will have to step down, that he is pronounced as the winner? Look at it tactically. On the very third issue that has to do with the double nomination of both Shetima, that he was a senator, and at the same time he was given the slot of the APC to run. I think that is a purely pre-election matter. And within the meaning of Section 29, sub 6 of the new Electoral Act, the local standard to challenge stuff like this has to do with the co-presidential aspirants who actually contested in the same election with the same party primaries presidential election with Tinubu.
What of the issue of the dual citizenship?
It's an issue
the
that
age falsification.
No. Hold on. Those are not grounds for bringing an election petition in Nigeria. There are three grounds.
Okay.
One, by reason of qualification. the person was elected by a shortage of the lawful vote cast. I think the third ground reason of qualification issue, which I've elaborated, lawful vote cast, and the third ground by reason of non-compliance with the Electoral Act. Tinubu do not have any problem with non-compliance with the Electoral Act. INEC is in a better position to explain why they did not transmit the IRF. The only ground I feel that might actually cause problem, but I don't know the mind of the court, has to do with the issue of scoring 25% of the lawful vote cast in the FCT. Yes, in Buhari versus Obasanjo, the court interpreted that section to anything any lawyer is saying now. They are saying their own interpretation. I'm telling you what I read from that judgment, and that seems to be a Supreme Court judgment that has not been repudiated or has not been looked into again, and that judgment is still today the locus classicus on this issue. That judgment categorically explained to me that you must have scored 25% of the vote cast in the FCT. And in my view, I don't think from the result I saw, Bola Tinubu actually scored 25% in the last election. So I pray the Supreme Court to give the interpretation they gave to that section of the Electoral Act and stand by the former locus classicus in Buhari versus Obasanjo and give definite interpretation of that issue. So this is my own solemn and my practical layman's analysis of the election tribunal. Grateful.
Would you want to say anything on that?
Well, that last point alone.
Please, I just have one thing on, but let him be done, please.
That one last comment of his on the 25% in Abuja alone gives us joy. One of the reasons that we are happy. Two, the Bola Tinubu we saw, before you submit, the form you submit to INEC,
from EC9.
EC9,
yeah.
You have to state your name, and it has to reflect in the primary school. I'm not a lawyer, but the case of Bayelsa,
but those are not the issues they are raising.
I know. That, and the Bola Tinubu certificate from Chicago, all these things are embodied in the petition we submitted, that Labour Party submitted, or Peter Obi submitted. And I think that is glaring. It's glaring. Even when we talk about second position and first position, what Labour Party and Peter Obi are saying is this: declare the result, transmit the whole results to IREF. Let us see. We saw the states they allowed out of the Labour Party, the presidential candidate wanted to inspect the electoral materials. INEC denied the 36 states. They allowed only nine states. Out of the 9 states, they only allowed 2 states. And the irregularities in those 2 states alone are enough to nullify the election. And I think the court would be receptive to such evidence.
Well, based on the legal contest in the courts, this is for you, Mr. Ayo.
Yeah.
Is there any hope of reclaiming the mandate your party is so clinching for?
Well, there's high hope. We know that the judiciary...
Having come third, not second position.
Yeah, we actually came first. We were robbed.
Mm-hmm. No, that's an overstatement.
It is not.
It's actually...
It is not.
Let's continue.
It is not. Even members of the PDP you represent as a lawyer.
Who do they represent?
No, you said it.
Yes, they are my clients.
They even come out to say that to be fair to Labour Party, in the polling units where they voted, the Labour Party won the elections.
But that do not make them the winner of the election.
No, bring out the results. Bring out the result. Transmit the result. That is just what we are asking for. Transmit the result. Let everything be transparent. You see election results that were mutilated, places where the Labour Party had maybe 5,000 votes, you turn it to 50 votes, where they have 1,200 and something votes, you give it 12 votes. If you transmit the results, we will see what will come out of it. Even CNN has been calling INEC. CNN, I read on CNN this thing, they called INEC because CNN said Labour Party won this election by 90%. It's not propaganda. It's not propaganda. We cannot, let me tell you, we've gone beyond genuine matters in this country. We should face the reality. The country is in deep problem. We need someone who can salvage this country. You cannot tell me you are enjoying this country. You cannot. This is the insecurity. What is it that should make somebody say there's no moral justification for anybody trying to prove maybe legality?
Okay, at this point, would you like to send the message to INEC? Would you like to use this forum to send a message to INEC?
Well, I would like to tell Professor Mahmood Yakubu that he has disappointed not only Nigerians in this generation, but in future generation, because his case will always be a reference point. And internationally, he has lost it. Everybody. People were already congratulating Labour Party, congratulating some of us from abroad. I can tell you, I was discussing with an investor, a foreign investor. He said, yeah, we are sure that your candidate is going to win.
So you become a
and
minister.
then, no, it's not about being a minister. So that we will bring in investors to change the narrative, to make things work in this country. And that is what we are angling for. It's not positions. If you make me a minister, fine and good. But I'm struggling for my children. I remember I said it the last time. We are working for the future of Nigeria. I don't think you are enjoying this country the way.
I'm not happy with what the APC is doing.
So,
okay. See, the thing is that...
you're not happy with APC or you're not happy with INEC?
It can't be happy with INEC.
Let him speak for himself.
I'm one of the few persons in Nigeria who has been exceptional. I've been in and out of courts with this present government. As in, I've stand out, very few of us. I've been to cell for no just cause. I can't count the things. The Twitter ban, it will surprise you to note, I personally got the Twitter ban judgment from the ECOWAS court. I got the Twitter ban overturned against this present government, where Nigerians and influencers were losing billions every day. So I've been involved in several, personally myself. You know, what INEC is doing, some of us, we are not surprised. We've been sounding this alarm. We have a situation where Mr. Femi Falana raised a very alarm that 8 to 12 REC members of INEC are card members of APC. Yeah, nobody said anything. I personally am in court with Rhoda Gomus of INEC, one of the REC members who represent the south of Nigeria. Well, before Justice Okoro of the Federal High Court, in a very tough litigious court matter as to why she will be a card carrier. Nothing that has not transpired. That's to show the extent to which. But these people, what they call the obedient, and some other sections of other political parties, they thought we don't know what we are doing. They thought we are just crying hula baloo hula. We told them, please, there's a fundamental issue in the system. You guys should demand for accountability. How many of you people supported this in court? How many people came down to television station at the expense of your life to talk about some of this issue? How many of you people actually came out and see how reforms can come into the electoral process?
Gentlemen, this is getting very interesting. This is getting very interesting.
Let me just chip in.
But for time, I think we will need to reschedule.
It is not fair to say that Labour Party has not gone to court or has not said anything. At every given forum, we have made it clear that INEC is compromised.
Okay, that's where we draw the curtains. Gentlemen, we have to draw the curtains here. Viewers, we can go on, but we have to draw the curtains here today. Until next time, when we will bring you yet another interesting topic or a continuation of this discussion. Our social media handles and telephone numbers are displayed there on the screen. It would be nice for you to leave a comment and give us a like there. Until we see next time again, my name is Nsidibel Doite, 9 News Nigeria. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us.
We appreciate you for your time.
We appreciate it.